Hello and welcome to Thrive After 45. I'm Denise Drinkwalter, midlife mentor and mirror, and every week I am honored to share energy and space with inspiring guests whose stories reflect so many possibilities of thriving beyond 45. Together, we'll uncover the whispers of the heart, the power of midlife transformation, and the wisdom that fuels expansion. Because when one woman turns her light on, the rest of the room catches fire. What if the part of you that has been quietly waiting for permission to act is actually what the world has been waiting for? Today, my guest began her work long before the word sustainability became a hashtag. In the 1970s, she was on the ground helping to resettle 60,000 refugees, not theorizing about human suffering, living alongside it, finding solutions in the middle of it. And something in that experience never left her. Decades later, she co founded an international nonprofit operating in 9 countries, not built on ideology or agenda, but on science, logic, and one unwavering belief that the Earth's most complex challenges have answers if we're willing to follow the evidence rather than the argument. She has helped clean up oil spills across 70 countries, worked to locate hidden water reserves in drought stricken regions. She's rescued wildlife from war zones and disaster sites. She's built an entire framework, cooperative ecology, around the radical idea that decisions made for the good of all create better outcomes for everyone, including the natural world. For over 40 years, our guest has been turning global challenges into practical solutions. Her work is global, but the invitation she carries is deeply personal because the woman who learns to stop waiting for the world to change is the woman who changes it. My guest today, co founder and president of the Earth Organization, Barbara Wiseman. Welcome to Thrive After 45.
Denise, thank you so much. And what a beautiful introduction. My goodness, I'm honored.
So am
Yeah.
I to be in this room having this conversation with you today. Oh my gosh.
Your
Before you became, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say the beginning of your introduction to the show itself was so beautiful. It was inspiring. Oh my goodness. My sorry, let
That's
me
okay.
unplug this phone.
No worries. We are real. We keep it real for many reasons, and this is one of them. We are busy people behind the scenes, and I am so appreciative that Barbara has taken time out of her very busy days to spend time sharing her wisdom and capacity to help us as women in the audience understand that one person can make a difference. So, Barbara, you were going to say something. I don't know if you remember what it was.
I do, and
Oh,
I so
good.
apologize. I'm
Oh,
usually really good at turning the phone off, and I just blew it this time.
oh, good.
So what I was going to say is that the opening of your your introduction to your show, it was so inspiring and so poignant to me because I felt like in my life I didn't start blooming, if you will, really
Hmm.
blooming until until well after I was 45.
Yeah.
And really so much experience brought enough wisdom to
Mm,
be able to really start going after my goals and making those goals something that I could be proud of,
mm,
right? And just being willing to expand my horizon and make that goal just as big as, bigger than I thought I could do. And
Yeah.
and just so happy now that by persisting towards that, it actually looks like I'm going to achieve that goal now. And but what a my goodness, what a journey. And as I said, it was after 45 that I really started being willing to expand my horizons
Mm.
to a degree that was exciting to me. Not just like, oh, well, that would be nice to accomplish, but no, this is exciting.
I love what you're saying because I believe and not only in the conversations I have with the guests that I get to have on the show, but I do hear from my clients as well that there seems to be an opportunity for shift at this age and stage where life changes for us. And when we come at it from that lens, things really get to sift and sort their way through if we're open to it. And that's what I'm hearing you say is this is an opportunity that I have been able to actually might be able to realize because of your experience thus far. And then you opened up that door and you saw possibilities and you took those steps and you decided. And when you were younger, it wasn't there yet for you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And there
love
was so
that.
much I thought I couldn't do. Right.
Right?
And
Oh,
and then just the more I was willing to go, wait a minute, here's a goal, but
yeah.
how about I do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any
Expand, open.
possibility? Oh, I couldn't
Yeah.
possibly do that. Well, all right, but let's just see, you know. And then every single thing has been, uh, you know, uh, becomes reality that it is
Mm.
achievable.
So help us to understand as we're listening to your vision and those of you who are not seeing it on YouTube, Barbara had her hands closer together and then as she was saying, it was like the door was opening up so her hands were spreading out and things were possible and she just took the step and didn't say, well, I don't think why can't I? What's the reason why I can't? Is there something that you can recall? Is there an instance that happened or a memory that you have where you started to flip, I'm going to say this, flip the script where "Well, I can't do that. Who am I kidding?" Right? To, well, why can't I? Getting that lens of curiosity. Is there something in your life that happened that caused that transition of possibility?
Do you know, it was an inspiration by a very dear friend of mine.
Mm.
And his name was Lawrence Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence was an extraordinary person. And
Mm.
he owned a wildlife preserve where he lived in South Africa. And
Mm-hmm.
he was world renowned for a couple of things that he had done. One was he had rescued a herd of wild elephants that the herd had been culled and killed off, and they were down to seven,
Oh,
and they
wow.
hated humans.
Yep.
And they were very, very hostile, right? And they
Oh,
were tromping through villages and turning over jeeps and very dangerous. And he got
yeah.
a call one day from a friend saying, we've got this herd and they're troublesome and we're just going to put them all down. But if you want them, I heard that you wanted to repopulate your area with elephant.
Okay.
If you want them, we'll give them to you. Right. You just have to pay for their
You,
shipping.
there you go.
Seven elephants. So
Imagine.
he'd grown up in the African bush, but he actually hadn't had much interaction or
Mm,
experience with elephants. So he had to think about it for a couple of days, and then he just decided, if I'm their only chance, I'm gonna
right.
I'm gonna try.
Mm,
So that story was so phenomenal that a best-selling book ended up being written about it called The Elephant Whisperer. He
mm,
didn't like that name because he said I was the one who did the listening.
Yes.
But his publisher, went, no, this is a great name. You've got to use this. But it's the story of
Mhm.
this extraordinary relationship and the development of it. And even though they continue to be totally wild elephants, he built a relationship with them and
Mm.
they with him that was so incredible that it got to the point where he could go out into the bush and call out to them. They could be a mile away, and if they heard it was Lawrence, they would come to him like puppy dogs and stand around him for hours just to be with him. And then it got to the point where every single time he went away on a trip, the night he returned home, the whole herd would magically show up at the house. And then,
Mm.
unfortunately, he died in 2013. And he was 300 miles away from the house. They were 12 miles from the house, and they perceived that he died. And they walked in mourning to his house, and they stayed around the house for several hours. And then every year for 4 years, they returned to the house on the anniversary of his death, right?
Wow.
Just extraordinary. The other thing that Lawrence did that he was very famous for was that you probably don't remember his name, but you might remember the story of the man who went into Baghdad at the very beginning of the war in 2003, and he rescued the Baghdad Zoo. And he was there for 6 months, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he and rescuing, protecting the animals, rebuilding the zoo, that sort of thing. And it was an absolutely incredible experience. While everyone else was fleeing, you know,
Hmm.
he went in there to rescue these animals. It was the largest zoo in the Middle East, and he
Mm.
knew they were in big, big
Yeah,
trouble.
of
They were starting,
course.
right?
Yeah.
So the size of the projects that Lawrence took on were so extraordinary,
Hmm.
and it expanded my own horizons, And as a result, when he was on his way back from Baghdad, he
Hmm.
stopped in London, and my husband and I were there that week, and we were all attending a big conference. And Lawrence was already a friend of mine. And my husband was really busy that week, and Lawrence and I spent a bunch of time together in
Yeah.
pub,
Yeah.
right, with him downloading this phenomenal story of what he had just come from
Wow.
and what the challenges that he had had in the middle of a
Mm.
war. It was just extraordinary. And at that time, I was the executive director of a good sized management consulting firm.
Hmm.
And Lawrence had been really disappointed because 2 months after he first got there, four
Hmm.
of the top environmental groups in the world showed up ostensibly to help. And to
Hmm.
be honest, they were a complete disaster.
Oh no.
They didn't do anything of benefit except when they arrived, they brought a truckload of supplies. But within 3 days after they arrived, everybody else wished that they had never come because
Oh dear.
they were just there to show their millions of members that they were there, and they raised millions of dollars because of that. Not a dime of that went to the zoo or what was supposedly the purpose, and then they left. So
Wow.
he was really disappointed in what he saw, right? And
I'm
he
sure.
so based on that, he asked me if I would help him start an organization that would be dedicated to
Mm.
um, taking on really important environmental issues,
Hmm.
finding solutions, and getting
Mm.
the solutions implemented. No politics, no opinions,
Hmm.
no agendas,
Yeah.
other than our agenda is to find the truth of a situation, find the real source of it, find a solution that works for everybody,
Right.
not just the
Yeah.
spotted owl, but
Yeah.
people, jobs, economy, commerce and industry, everybody,
Everything. Yeah.
and get it implemented,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, I so admired him. I was just, thrilled that he had asked me to help him with this.
Oh
And that's where
yes.
we started back in 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I am sure that he asked you for a reason. He could have asked anybody, I'm sure, but there was something in you that he probably saw and knew that you maybe didn't see in yourself yet. I don't know, but that's just what's coming through for me.
Well, that's very nice. I hadn't even thought of it that way, but yes, he must have seen something, certainly, because he
Yeah.
could have asked anyone. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe he just saw that I was crazy enough to to
Well,
grab my nose and take the plunge, right? Because this was an area that I knew
well,
nothing about,
right.
right? I mean, the
Yeah,
only things that I knew were what I had heard in the media.
of course.
And, you know, and immediately as I started actually applying my management tools and
Right.
research tools
Yeah.
and data evaluation tools and looking at what was actually going on, the
Yeah.
more it became obvious that nothing in the media was
Mm,
what was actually going on.
right.
It was always at least significantly different, if not completely different.
Completely. Yeah.
Right. I mean, completely, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so situations that aren't really a big deal were being
Mm-hmm.
promoted as end of the world. Situations that were really a big deal were not being reported on at all.
Yeah.
And, any solutions that were being offered up were just going to end up creating bigger problems in the end.
Right.
They were real solutions.
Right.
So at that point, I went, wow, I really need to help him with this. I felt
Yeah.
duty motivated to help him
Right.
with this because I felt it was important.
Mm-hmm.
And I
So,
fun,
yeah. Yeah. He
lots of
sounds
fun.
like an incredible person
He,
in
he
more
really
ways
was.
than one. Yeah.
He really was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had no fear. He was just willing to go in anywhere if it was the right thing to do.
Well, and
You know?
and isn't that the pivotal piece in terms of the right thing to do? And like
Yeah,
you suggested and shared earlier, right for everyone, not only the situation, but everybody benefits because of the years you've done and you continue to do the work that you do. You look at every angle and you make sure all the pieces of the puzzle are in the right box, as it were.
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. For example, if you're coming up with solutions that are only going to benefit nature, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and but people and the economy are going to be harmed
Yeah.
as a result, or local businesses are going to be harmed as a result, that's no
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
And it's not a solution that's, even if it gets forced into place, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a solution that's going to stay in place.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
so the only way you can find a solution is for it to actually be a real solution, something that resolves the issue or reverses the decaying situation and gets it stably turned around and
Right.
headed in a pro-survival direction, you know.
Yeah.
And these things have to be done in gradients, have to be done step by step by step. It can't be just, oh, okay, we do this and everything's going to be solved. It just doesn't, the world doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, and isn't there evidence of that? Right? Like we see that all the time, every day, every which way we turn, because we don't take the time to step back and do the aerial view.
right.
We just keep going,
So,
going, going. This is the way it's always been done. It's worked before. It's not broken. It's like, well, how do you know it's not broken? Have you really done the view that you need to really understand what the problem is before you start? Yeah.
so you're spot on from my
Hmm.
viewpoint. The most important thing when people ask me for tips in life,
Right.
and what has made it possible for us to be as successful as we have been
Hmm.
in finding real solutions and getting those solutions implemented, is the simple suggestion or mandate
Yeah.
to look,
Yeah.
right? Don't just listen. There's so many opinions out there that sound really nice or
Right.
really good or really smart, and that don't have, that aren't accurate in terms of, what the true source of something is, or
Right.
how to really solve it. And
Right.
so you have to look, you can't just listen.
Right.
And You have to go look and do, yeah, and then, try something and look, did that actually
Right.
work? Oh, it didn't
Right.
work. All right, well, that's obviously not the right solution. How do we have
Right.
fine tune this so that it
Yeah.
does work, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've spent, sometimes a few years
Mm,
searching while we're doing other things, but researching a
of
particular
course.
to really get all of the pieces of the puzzle put together.
Yeah.
So interesting when you look enough, whether it's a personal problem in your own life, with
Mm-hmm.
your kids, with your husband,
Yep.
with your job, your boss, your company, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a problem and you just start looking,
Right.
asking questions and looking, um, at a certain point, the aha moment always happens.
I love
And
that.
at that aha moment, then uh, a solution to it always just pops up. It's like, oh, if that's the problem, well, okay, let's just do
Right.
this, right?
Right.
But if that solution isn't popping up,
Right.
then you haven't gotten to the bottom of it, of
I
what's
love that. And you can, just like you're sharing right now, you can apply this to everything. It's a foundational piece
yeah.
is to ask the questions. I know I talk a lot about that lens of curiosity. If you're first, you have to notice, right? First, you have to realize there's something that's not right now. What is it? What's going on? Get curious around it. One thing I want to ask you about is when you start your journey, whatever is coming into all the things, all the pieces of the pie that you have going on right now, when something starts at the first, there's an awareness that there's something that you want to look into. Do you find more as you do the resourcing and finding out more about what's really going on? Do you find that it's harder to get the information that's accurate by going wide and using a variety of sources? Like, how do you do that so that it's really comprehensive?
Well, that's a really good question, but yeah, you do have to go wide
Mm-hmm.
because there are all the different factors involved in any equation, and you've got to figure
Sure.
out first and foremost, what are all the factors here that we need to take into consideration? Who
Right.
who are the stakeholders in this,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
And then looking across, all the different areas, individual people,
Mm-hmm.
um, businesses,
Mm-hmm.
commerce industry, jobs,
Mm.
economy, the environment, the health of the environment, the health of
Right.
the people, uh,
Right.
the culture of the area, what is considered to be good and what's considered to be bad, maybe totally good. It's one thing in one area and very different
Absolutely.
in another area, and that has to
Yeah.
count as well.
Mm-hmm.
So every single thing that we've taken on has been so fascinating, for example, and so different, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
when British Petroleum had that massive blowout in the Gulf of Mexico in
Mm-hmm.
2010,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, you know, it was so fascinating, all of the different aspects that we had to take, all the different pieces of this puzzle we had to take into account,
Mm-hmm.
and to find a solution that would actually, be work for everyone and
Right.
get the waters cleaned up,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it was just fascinating taking, what's going to work for the oil company, not just BP, but all the other oil
Of
companies that are
course.
working in that
Yeah.
Gulf.
Yeah.
The people, the marine life, the government,
Mm-hmm.
um, the oil and gas industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and taking all of these into account and then finding a solution that actually worked for everyone,
Right.
um, was really interesting. And it didn't take, once we had, looked at all these different factors, it didn't take
Mm-hmm.
that long to actually find
Mm.
something that would have worked for everyone.
Love it.
Unfortunately, at that time, the EPA was
Mm-hmm.
extremely corrupt,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
extremely corrupt. And there were factors going on with them that we
Right.
had to investigate the EPA and find out
Right.
who was getting paid off by whom to
Right.
prevent the only real solution from being implemented.
Okay. Yep.
That was, yeah, that's a whole other story,
Right?
whole other, right? But that's
Yeah.
very, very different scene than, for example, all the farmers and ranchers throughout the American Southwest who are desperate for water right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got an entirely different culture there, an entirely different problem, but
Right.
one that we also found
Yep.
the solution for.
Yeah.
But yeah, just anyway, it's quite a challenge, but it is definitely, it is definitely, to me, it's definitely fascinating and been really interesting and very fulfilling, when you could really find a solution and see it implemented and see everything in that area get better.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's got to be let me ask instead of assuming. Is that a one of the main reasons or a very important reason as to why you continue to do the work that you do? Does it ever get tiring? I mean, I'm sure it's exhausting at times, but does it ever get like, yeah, I think I'm getting close to being finished with this?
Well, for me, no.
Yeah.
Um, because I am so excited about our next project, right?
Nice. Yeah.
And our next project is taking all the lessons learned from the last 20
Mm,
years, right?
mm-hmm.
And we vetted a number of different solutions and implemented them so that we know these are real solutions.
Yeah.
I was looking at, all right, we can continue doing a couple of projects at a time or something, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to get us very far. That's not going to have the kind of impact that we want to have.
Yes.
Um, So how do we get all these technologies that we know about and these solutions, how do we get them implemented broadly around the world?
Mm-hmm.
And so the plan is that we have created the beginning of what we have named the World Restoration Trade School.
Oh,
And
cool.
and so right now we're in the property acquisition phase. We're finding
Mm-hmm.
the right property for it. And it's going to be a live-in ranch retreat type of place with a trade school curriculum based on, as I said, the lessons that we've learned over the last 23 years and
Right.
create an army, if you will,
Love
of,
it.
of graduated students who can go out around the world and, apply these to solve the environmental issues in their areas. So it's the next big game. It's the biggest thing I've ever taken on, and I'm really excited about it.
I love what you're sharing because the impact and the lessons that you've learned over time are now going to be multiplied out into hands of more people, which means the results are going to be even that more far reaching. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, yes,
I love that.
excited about it too. And we're planning to have a good proportion of the students will be veterans,
Hmm.
transition out of the military into civilian life
Beautiful.
and looking for new constructive missions, if you will.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got chills. Love it.
Yeah.
And curious, all the lessons you have learned through the work that you do in this beautiful world that we get to live in for a short period of time. How would you say that those have impacted you personally?
Sorry, I didn't quite get the question. Well, all of the lessons?
Yeah, all of the everything that you've learned through all the work you've done obviously have made an impact on you as an individual, as a person, as a human being. Can you share some snippets or some nuggets or some learnings that you have been able to use not only in your work, but have become part of who you are?
Yes, a couple of things that
Mm-hmm.
immediately pop to mind are that there are always solutions.
Mm,
There's never an unsolvable problem. Doesn't
love that.
in my experience, it doesn't exist. There's always a solution. You just have to look,
Mm,
right? And keep looking to find out what is the core source of the problem. And
right.
then the solution will pop up of how to handle that. The other thing that is really, really interesting to me and that I apply all the time, and something I learned many years ago, is that is that if you're handling a situation, the first thing, or you want to take your company or your family or
Mm-hmm.
your life, whatever, right?
Sure.
And make it better. If you want to step by step make it better, how do you do
Mm-hmm.
that? Well, the best thing to do is to take first, sit down and describe, if this was perfect, if it
Mm-hmm.
was exactly the way I want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
what would it look like?
Right.
And everything you can think of, every part of it, right? Really list out, like, what would this be if it was perfect? And then look and see, okay, what is the greatest departure from that ideal scene, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I use the analogy that if you were on the Titanic and
Mm,
you've hit the iceberg,
mm-hmm.
there's 1,000 things you can do on that ship to make it better, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can get the people who've fallen off the ship back on. You
Mm-hmm.
can rearrange the deck chairs so they're more aesthetically pleasing. You can create a beautiful new food menu for the passengers, right?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
if you're not handling the hole in the hull, it's
Yep.
all for naught. It's going down.
Right.
And it's true in any situation. If you look at what's the ideal scene and then
Yep.
what's the greatest departure, and I call it what's the hole in the hull,
Yeah.
right? And if you focus all your attention on fixing that, right, then you've moved that whole situation one step closer to the ideal scene, right? If
Right.
you do anything else, it might be nice, threaten to sue the shipping line or whatever, but the ship's going down.
Right.
Now, this analogy falls apart because, at the point where, with the Titanic, they couldn't fix the hole in the hull.
Right.
Okay, then what do? You get people off the ship as
Right.
many as you can into the lifeboats, and right, that
Right.
becomes the
Yeah.
thing. But if you just keep finding, okay, what's the hole in the hull now? Right? And
Mm-hmm.
you fix that, you've moved the whole scene one step closer
Closer.
to that built scene. And that's how you can take any situation and stably, keep it
Mm,
towards a better and better situation. And
mm-hmm.
it's really it makes a lot of sense,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those things that's kind of so obvious that nobody, very few people operate that way,
Right.
that way. It's just
Right.
like whatever pops up, the whack-a-mole kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whatever pops up, okay, that's what I'm going to handle right now. Okay. Instead of going, no, what's the thing underneath it that's making these things pop up? Handle that,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 What's the source? Like you've
Yeah,
shared already. What's the
yeah,
source? What's really going on
yeah,
underneath the hood of the car? It's making a noise. It's not working right. Get in there and actually do the right analysis. Get sure on what the noise is coming from. Yeah.
yeah.
One thing, do you notice when people start fi- looking at the hole in the hole? Um, and I don't know if you've noticed this. I noticed this in my in the work that I do with clients that I have and moving them from just sticking in the well, I just there's no solution. I can't do it. It's too deep. It's too big. It's too wide. Is there any tips you have on keeping that big vision alive? That's something you do extremely well. You never lose sight of your vision. You keep adding to your vision. You never
Right.
lose sight of it. How do
Yeah.
you do that?
You know, I don't know how to answer that question other than you just do it.
It's
You
okay.
know, once once you've defined it and you know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
then keep that mountain in sight.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that mountain in sight. If you need to put a big sign over your desk that says
Yeah.
what the goal is,
Yeah.
just keep that in sight. And there's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be
Yeah.
challenges and problems. And oh my God, how do we possibly handle this? Uh, but if you know that's where you're going and you
Yeah.
keep that in mind, then
Mm-hmm.
these other things just become okay. How do
Yep.
we move this one off the line or resolve it so we can take the next step towards it?
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a way that Earth organization works differently than other, let's say, well-intentioned environmental groups?
I think so. We have a very specific, what we call standard operating procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever issue or situation we take on, we
Mm-hmm.
walk it through these steps. And
Mm,
sometimes these steps can take a long time to get done. One might be short, another might take a long time to get done. But we
right.
walk through these steps, and there's six of them. And the first
Okay.
one is we hear about some environmental situation from wherever, right?
Sure.
The first thing we do is we research it enough to make sure it actually does exist.
There
And
you
it's not
go.
some
Yep.
not just some other agenda,
Yep.
the run through the media or whatever. That
Sure.
does this actually exist,
Yep.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
is it important enough to take on, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It may exist, but it may be like really not a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
So does it exist and is it important to take on? Then step two is if it is,
Mm-hmm.
then we do all necessary research to, again,
Mm-hmm.
find the source of the problem, the
Right.
honest to God source of the problem. And interestingly, from my experience over the past 23 years, it's never what's being promoted in the media,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
It's always something different. And it may be a
Mm-hmm.
little bit different, just a
Mm-hmm.
twist on it, or it may be wildly different. But
Right. Yep.
the media is not a source of accurate information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, so once we found the honest to gosh source of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then step three is good. Now do the research to find a real solution
Mm-hmm.
that will work for everybody involved.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Then step four is once we have that, then depending on the situation, we either implement it ourselves
Yep.
or we get it into the hands of another group that will competently do so,
Okay.
right?
Yep. Perfect.
Um,
Yep.
and then step five, and that can take quite a while. I mean, we've spent 7 years
Mm-hmm.
creating another company that we could take our water location technology and get it into their hands so that they're
Sure.
competently using it, competently
Yeah.
you know, finding water for farmers and ranchers and AI data centers and stuff around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so once that's done,
Mm-hmm.
then step five is we take all the lessons that we learned from steps 1 to 4 and
Yep.
put the educational materials. And it might be a white paper for a government
Mm-hmm.
regulator. It might be a children's book
Yeah,
if
of
it's something
course.
kind of needs a sea change in social viewpoint
Yeah.
thing, right? So, but whatever it is appropriate so that those lessons aren't lost
Lost.
is
Yeah.
the key. And then step six is go find the next environmental
Yeah.
issue gone and put it through the steps, 1 to 5.
Same steps. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, I don't know of any other group that has that kind of an organized layout of how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
And um, um, yeah, and so I think that makes us unique and it makes us uniquely effective. Well,
Absolutely. Yeah.
really made it possible for us to be successful at
Hmm.
what we've taken on.
Hmm. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I know we've tapped into a lot. Is there anything that you would love to share with our audience, women thriving after 45 who might be feeling stuck, might be feeling like, how am I going to do this for you, by you, because of you? I know Denise talks like that all the time. Is there any extra golden nugget? You've given so much, and I can see so many parallels, not only through the work that you do, which is so incredible, and we're so grateful for everything that you and Lawrence had started way back when, got you on the train, and you are now flying in the sky with all of this and moving mountains with the work that you do. Is there anything that you could share with the audience that you think, you know what, if I can leave you with this final nugget, I'll be happy?
Well, that's a good question. One thing that I would like to leave them with as a final nugget is that we could use some help.
There we go. Yeah.
We do. We need help. We need volunteers. We need, we need financial support.
Hmm.
We're a nonprofit, right? So there's always
Right.
that
Yeah.
aspect of it of like,
Sure.
how far can you extend your
Hmm.
solutions? Depends in great measure as to how, if you've got the funds to, to do that. So,
Absolutely.
so if somebody likes what they've heard and wants to
Hmm.
contribute, wants to be a supporter, wants to get involved with us,
Hmm.
some way, please contact us
Yeah.
through our website or
Right.
email at info@theearthorganization.org. Don't forget right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Info@theearthorganization.org. Um, as far as a tip, I just, Denise, I think you're such an inspiration. I would tell your listeners to keep listening to you and be, and take some chances,
Yeah.
know, take some chances and have
Hmm.
fun with it.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, there's something wrong, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so just like it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be saving the world types of
Yeah.
goals, but but pick something that you love,
Yeah.
doing painting, whatever, but grab it and then do it. Take the plunge and
Hmm.
and have fun with it.
Yeah. And we talk about this a lot in this show that we never know when our last breath is going to be. So the longer we keep our heels in the ground and, well, is it me? Here's a perfect example. Look at what Barbara's done. She said the doors have opened in ways that she couldn't even have imagined, and her big, big dreams are coming true. Not because she just thought about them and they stayed in the frontal cortex all the time. She took action and she did that for you, by you, because of you. She did it because she was motivated to do it just to see what would happen. And it didn't happen overnight, right? Good things don't. We've talked about that in the show today. Good things take time. And we don't know how much time we have. So start today, whatever that is. Even if
Yeah,
it's taking a minute to yourself just to breathe, do it for you, by
yeah.
you, because of you. Start small. You don't have to jump into the deep end, right?
One of my favorite concepts, because it's been so true for me in life, is
Mm-hmm.
that happiness is not necessarily the achieving of a goal. Of course, there's happiness connected to that, but happiness is very much the moving forward
Mm.
towards that goal
Yeah.
and being aware of what the goal is and what are the steps that you feel you need to take to get there,
Yeah.
and then seeing, oh wow, I just made another step towards that goal,
Yeah.
and there's happiness
Mm.
connected with that that is just intrinsic.
Hmm.
And so it is, just take a step, could be a baby step, doesn't matter, but
Abs-
take a
yeah.
step.
Yeah. And you will be the one to know that you've taken a step. A
Exactly.
lot of people behind the scenes, even in your household, don't understand the depth with which you are thinking, rehearsing, talking to yourself. And those steps that you take are for you, by you, because of you. And nobody else even needs to know. If that doesn't resonate, then just do your thing. It's okay, right? Yeah. Love
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
All of the details and ways to get in touch with Barbara are going to be in the show notes. So we will make sure all the contact information and the info at theearthorganization.org are in the show notes. So you can just click it and send the email right away. And before we close, I want to tell everyone about a room of our own that is coming up this November. I am hosting a live in person experience November 12th and 13th called Ignite the Inner Uprising. It's going to be a 2 day immersive gathering for women in midlife years who are feeling this quiet pull towards something more truthful, embodied, more fully your own. Ignite, it's an extension of these conversations where reflection becomes embodiment and insight starts to become integrated. And women who have carried so much for so many others finally get to stand in our own sovereignty. So, if there's something in today's conversation that stirred inside of you, if you started leaning in, going, "Oh, I'm thinking about this," that is not accidental. So the wait list is open. So if Ignite seems like something your future self is wanting and would love to thank you for, I invite you to add your name to that list for November 12th and 13th. And we are hosting it in Vancouver, Canada. And as always, make sure that you follow, like, share, leave us a review so more women can find these incredible conversations that we have on Thrive After 45. Because we know when one woman turns her light on, the rest of the room catches fire. Barbara, thank you again for being here with us today. We so appreciate all that you are doing in this world. And we know every buddy, every environment, every creature benefits greatly. Thank
And
you.
thank you so much. And thank you for what you're doing. This is a wonderful program. And I'm sure you've helped and will continue to help a lot of women.
We are here to help one another because we can't do it alone. I never believed that for a minute. So thank you again. And we will see you on Thrive After 45 again. Bye, everyone.